Good morning, everybody. Wow, February 1st. Very cool. 2024. Wow. Time is just flying by. So we've got another Ask Me Anything. Did I just say it's Tuesday? Losing my mind. I don't know if I even said the day. It's Thursday. It's February 1st. It's 2024. It's the Ask Me Anything. As always, a ton of awesome questions. Some that are potential long rabbit holes. I'll try my best not to make it a 45-minute show, but no promises. So let's, without any further ado, dive right in so we can get to the good stuff. The first question I'm going to tackle is from Phil J, and it's a question from the Linchpin Squad in the btwb app. And it says, when you program, do you have an intended outcome for the particular block? For example, by the end of the next 6 weeks, we'll have tried to do X, or we'll be better at Y. Yes and no. Okay? What I think you're asking in the question by we're going to have tried to do X or we'll be better at Y is, some people will say, okay, for this next fill in the blank, this many weeks, we're going to focus on the back squat. We're going to focus on the power clean. We're going to focus on the toes to bar, whatever it happens to be. From that perspective, the answer to your question is no. There's not a singular thing that I will prioritize above all else. Okay, but I think people, I don't know, they feel like they're doing something cool or they've got a special focus when they do that. But I think the fallacy is that doing this is going to help my overall fitness 2 years from now, or else why would you do it, right? What we do focus on, and it's a harder route, but after decades now, it's been confirmed as far as I'm concerned that it's the more beneficial route for everybody, is that what we do try to focus on is improving your fitness. I'm sorry if that sounds cliche or like a cut and paste answer, but it's actually true. Meaning, if you are choosing to focus on something and to prioritize something, you're going to deprioritize something else. Okay, so if I'm going to prioritize the squat for the next 4 months, what is it that we want to deprioritize? I'm not willing to deprioritize your engine, your gymnastics movements, your deadlift, nothing else. We're greedy. The way that I program, we're greedy. It's classic CrossFit, meaning it is possible in every block to actually program and focus on improving everything. Gradual, sustainable, consistent improvement in all areas. That's far more difficult to do, which is maybe why it's not as common as I wish that it would. It's easier just to kind of focus on something for 4 weeks, and the next 4 weeks I'm going to kind of focus on something else. But trying to do this rising tide that lifts all ships at the same time, that's difficult and challenging. It's possible and it's worth it, and that's what we do. And that's why you see, without us saying, hey, this month it's all about the strict pull-up, that every time it's a deadlift, it's raining deadlift PRs. Every time it's a back squat, it's still raining back squat PRs without a quote-unquote particular focus for this 4-week block. It can be done. And the way that we do it, if you really want to dive into it, go to CrossFitLinchpin.com. There's a tab that says ebook, and I wrote, a 52-page free ebook on how to actually do this. And I think what most people realize if they actually read that 52-page ebook is it's so darn time-consuming to lay everything out and detail it out and figure out the path that we'll just do something else. It can be done. And I've got a really cool example of this. And so Phil, we'll get to Eric's question later. You set me up really well from this. This is a testimonial that just Amanda B, just a woman who follows Linchpin, just hit me up in Instagram, and here's what she wrote. Let me call up the two messages here. I think it really lays out how we can actually keep everything improving and keep athletes incredibly fit, fast, and strong without saying this is what we're doing for the next 4 weeks. So Amanda says, and this was after we recently did a 7x1 overhead squat, which it sounds like she doesn't do that frequently, and I don't know why. Maybe it doesn't treat her well, but whatever. She says, I have followed your programming since September 2020, so over 3 years now. I made an overhead squat PR in April of 2021 of 175 pounds. First of all, Amanda, that's a robust overhead squat for a single. 175, congratulations. I literally have not done heavy overhead squats since then. So she has not done them since April 2021. I've maybe done 1 or 2 days of higher volume, medium load overhead squats and plenty of lightweight high volume days. I often scale them to front squats or snatch balances instead of the heavy days, so something doesn't treat her well there. This week, I did the 7x1 overhead squats again and easily made 175 pounds again. I will be 40 this year. It's blowing my mind that I could maintain a PR for almost 3 years without heavy overhead squatting. Let that sink in. That's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to do the lift to get better at the lift, right? But there is a way to program in a manner that has tremendous transference to other lifts. And if you do that, you're shocked by the fact that, well, we don't deadlift every week, but my darn deadlift is still really good. How does that work? We don't heavy back squat every week, but I'm still there's a way to do it, and that's what we do at Linchpin. And Amanda's testimony about this was really cool. So I wrote her back and said, obviously you're putting in the work. Big congratulations to you. And she wrote back, this is again part 2 of the testimony, which is really cool and helps illuminate the question, or the answer to the question, which is, I really think it's just the results of your programming. Honestly, I wasn't sure if it was working at first because I came from a lifting plus Metcon gym, right? We've spoke about that before. And I was a big fan of that format. I was also training with an Olympic lifting coach prior to CrossFit. I initially felt like I was getting weaker on Linchpin, but your programming combined with my garage gym just fits so easily into my life that I've kept up with it. I've got 3 kids and 4 sports, and life is hectic. In the last year, I hit a 225-pound front squat and a 190-pound hang squat clean. Plus, my cardio is decent considering how big I am, and I can do cartwheels almost as good as when I was 10 years old. Amanda, you're awesome. I wasn't this strong or moving this well 5 years ago when I was just doing Olympic lifts, or even 3 years ago when I was following my old gym's programming of heavy lift plus Metcon every day. I'm a true believer in Linchpin. There is a way to do it. And that's why we don't say for the next 4 weeks, this is the focus. The focus is your work capacity. The focus is your fitness. The focus is that we're greedy and we're going to get you better at everything, and it can be done. I saw somebody say, could you once again say where to get the programming book? Sure. Go to CrossFitLinchpin.com. There's a tab that says ebook. Just click on it. It's free. Download the free ebook and have fun. Okay, let's continue on. Next question from Phil T. Following up from a post for last week, for the newer folk, can you talk about the garage gym videos, what to do, how to do it, how to submit? I love seeing these and want to see more from members. Phil, I agree with you. The garage gym videos are awesome. If you go to CrossFit Linchpin's YouTube channel, there's a playlist entitled Garage Gym or Garage Gym Videos, and people from around the world have submitted their garage gyms, and it's so cool to see. And if you would like to submit, if you're part of the Linchpin community and you would like to submit a video of where you work out, backyard, in your apartment, garage gym, fire station, I don't care where it is, just film it on your phone. Landscape mode would be ideal, and just shoot it to me in an email if you have a YouTube channel, or just upload it to YouTube and send me the link, and then I'll take it and put it in CrossFit Linchpin's YouTube channel. But just email it to me at info@crossfitlinchpin.com and I'll put it on there, and it'll be super cool. Okay. This is from CM, asking for a friend who is not, asking for a friend and fellow Linchpin member who is not on Facebook. My friend is booked for a total hip replacement and was wondering how your recovery is going and if you intended to share your rehab program. I also know that he has benefited greatly from what you have shared, so thank you for that. Okay, so for anyone who's unfamiliar, I had a total hip replacement about 11 weeks ago. Nothing from working out, nothing from CrossFit or strength and conditioning, from a military accident I had about 23 years ago where I broke my pelvis, and this surgery was just inevitable, and I finally had it. And the surgery went well. I was not a knucklehead during recovery, and so it's been going great. With regards to sharing my rehab program, yes, I will share that, what I came up with, because I kind of created my own rehab program. I spoke to some orthos, but then I took some liberties, and that will be $500 to download. Just kidding, it's for free. So where you will be able to find that is, Adrian and I just actually recently discussed this very topic on a Varied Not Random podcast that hasn't posted yet. If you give me 1 second, let me look through the Varied Not Random posting schedule on when it's going to come up. So let's see. So where we are right now. Okay, so right now, this week, Varied Not Random 147 just got posted about cold plunge and recoveries. 148 will get posted next week. That'll be a different topic. So 2 weeks from now is when this episode should post for Varied Not Random. It should be episode 149 about my rehab after the total hip replacement. And in that episode, I not only discuss it, but then if you go, once that's posted, to the btwb YouTube channel, on the show notes, there'll be a link to a PDF, and I detailed out what I did every day for my rehab. And so you should be able to just download that or copy it, whatever, technology, whatever you can do, and share it with your buddy, and you should be good to go. I see somebody say, why did I need a total hip replacement? I broke my pelvis in the military around the year 2000. And it just was inevitable, quite frankly. So nothing to do with working out, just that darn military thing. Okay, let's see. Continuing on from Eric. What were your key takeaways from the January Linchpin Lifestyle Challenge, which was tightening up the old nutrition? What results did you achieve? What changes did you make, etc., etc.? As a parent, how do you handle food decisions? So we've got a few questions here. Tackle one at a time. What results did I achieve? I am so ripped and shredded at the moment that I'm having to turn down continuously just all these emails about being on the cover of magazines and photo shoots and stuff like that. It's almost becoming unbearable and obnoxious. And then that's why I'm wearing a shirt right now, just because I don't want the paparazzi all around. I tightened up the diet, and basically the toughest thing for me was just, it was a good exercise and discipline, but I just, I tightened up the cheat meals a little bit and whatnot, and that was great. I'm glad it was for only a month, but I don't eat overly bad regularly. I eat pretty clean most of the time, and so tightening it up wasn't really that big of a challenge for me. I was almost there. But I will say, like I said previously, I wasn't perfect, and I'm okay with that, because I don't know, perfect is unsustainable, and that works for some people great. But for example, for my little 2.5-year-old daughter wants to go out, for some breadsticks and some pizza, you better believe that I'm going to take her out for some breadsticks and some pizza, because that's awesome quality time. And she'll nibble on the pizza that I have a little bit, and I'm going to eat the darn pizza, and we're going to have an awesome daddy-daughter sort of a date. So, that happened every now and then, and I was okay with that happening. As a parent, how do you handle food decisions for a family of 5? Man, that's a great one. Our kids are running around playing sports. Everyone's got a different schedule. We try to sit at all the dinner tables as frequently as we can, but doesn't happen as much as we want. We, make meals that we sit down and we try to eat them, and our kids are 12 and 14, so they'll complain and make faces and say that they don't like it, and we'll try to force them to eat a certain amount of the real food, and then later on they'll still ask for something else. So we juggle it to the best of our ability, and we try to make more good decisions than bad, but we also are living in a real household, and our kids eat some junk every now and then. That's the truth right there. And I actually think that that's okay. That's not scientific. I don't have like a food expert degree or whatever to say stuff about nutrition on the internet, but all I will say is, from just living on this planet, that's just my take on parenting. Not judging anyone else, but we're friends with some households that are like strict, like our kids have no treats and no sugar, and it's just, I mean, it's like 100% paleo all the time. And cool. Yeah, outside of your house, the real world isn't like that. Like, you need to, in my mind, like, teach people how to live in the real world. You're going to see these things. You might want to have some sort of portion control. You might want to understand what they do to your body. Yes, they're delicious. Have them every now and then. Don't make them your main course. Because I've seen sometimes in my limited experience, some of the families that it's like the all or nothing. When those kids leave the nest and they're at a birthday party or out at school or somebody else's house, they are like ravaging through their pantries like crazed sugar lunatics because it's like an all or nothing. So we try to be as realistic as we can. Challenges during the month, I was pretty okay. And did I experience anything else relevant during the month? I think it honestly just reinforced that I'm content with how I generally handle my nutrition. For me personally, I think I've found after so many years a good cycle of generally eating well, allowing myself some treats when I so desire, and a good balance that I can maintain the body composition that makes me happy, but I can still have a slice of cake at the birthday party. Andrea said, that's a great question for me. I have 5 as a single mother. God bless you. 5 as kids as a single mother. And you consider what they consume. Appreciate your answer. Yeah, for sure. Real life, right? I mean, we're living in the real world here. Okay. Corey C., you got a question here about the tempo feature on btwb, the app, and how does it go off of feeling fresh or how you feel that day? So when you log something on the tempo portion of the app, and then it says 100%, is that 100% if you were fresh, or is that 100% today, but my performance today is I'm a little tired from yesterday, so my 100% today isn't really my true 100%. I inquired about this with the btwb team, and they said that it's not specifically defined which one of those 2 ways you have to log it. It's more up to you. So Corey, if you want to use that tempo feature as logging how you always feel based upon your true 100% fresh, you can do that, or you can make it a how I feel today effort level. So there's no hard and fast rule on that. Okay, let's see. Whoops. Nikos G. Since life is unpredictable, will we ever see 2 long chippers back to back or 2 sprint style workouts back to back? Don't get any bad ideas that would make me vilified. You rock, coach. So, the question is doing multiple things that are somewhat repetitive back to back because life doesn't care, right? And life might force you to do that. Totally fair, totally true. My wife would disagree with you. She feels like this week, Monday and Tuesday specifically, was just mean on purpose. That chipper that we started off Monday with all the 50s, woo, and then following it up on Tuesday with another long workout, that 10-rounder, she came into the house like ready to fight after the garage. She had walked into the garage on Tuesday, so I feel like we kind of just did that, to be quite honest with you. The other thing that I would say is if you want to expose yourself to something like that, like a repeated tough stimulus, for that sake of variance, which there's validity to, you are always in the driver's seat for intensity, right? Intensity is a choice. And so you can choose anytime that you want, burn it down on one day and try to stomp the gas all the way to the floor the next day. Now, that's not what I would recommend anyone does for, long-term success. But if you needed to do that every now and then to see what you had between the ears, what your body was capable of, you can certainly do that. Now, what we do every now and then, not regularly because it wouldn't be the best way to program, but every now and then, we will most certainly expose the athlete to a workout, even if the time domain's different, even if the loading's different or whatnot, so maybe you don't see the correlation between day 1 and day 2, but we might force the athlete to use very similar musculature that they did the day before or 2 days before that I know is fatigued and that I know is tired, that I know is not going to operate at 100%, and we're still going to require the athlete to use that musculature. And that could be done in a mixed modality session, like a classic, couplet, triplet, 3-5 rounds for time, whatever, or it could be done for strength days as well. Like, there's a big difference between, does the 5x5 back squat fall on Monday after a workout on Saturday that didn't interfere, and then a full rest day on Sunday, and then the week kicks off with a 5x5 back squat on Monday? Probably going to be a good back squat day. Or did I intentionally put that back squat later in the week, after a couple days that I know are going to light up the midline and the posterior chain, knowing full well that you will not be optimized to hit your lifetime 5x5 back squat, but we're doing it because there's value there in seeing what you can do on legs that aren't 100%. So all those things are kind of wrapped in there and occur. Let's see. Okay, Dave D, you've got, you're traveling to the U.S. Right now you're in the air, flying. If you read this at the normal time, I'll be midway over the Atlantic. Very cool. Very soon, welcome to my country, my friend. Once again, this is travel for work, takes him to the States. This time he's going to be in California for 3.5 months. Very cool. Plans to work out at some gyms, go traveling, etc. What to see. So, and Julie commented on your post. So what I recommend is once you land, you get a good sense of where you are. Post again in the private Facebook group and the Linchpin squad and btwb. Let people know where you are if you want. And they'll hit you up with a lot of good stuff. The cities are cool, the beaches are cool. Don't get me wrong, I mean, California is like a postcard, quite frankly, if you go on the Pacific Highway. I mean, it's amazing. So check out the coast, have an absolute blast, enjoy the beaches. But Julie has a great suggestion here that there are some national parks in California, like Joshua Tree National Park. You just got to check out. I mean, they're absolutely astonishing. So some of the gorgeous natural beauty, more so than the cities, is probably what I'd recommend. Okay. Eric J, I know you're a 90s hip-hop aficionado. Nas or Wu-Tang for a workout song playlist? Eric, you can't go wrong with either one. Who's kidding who? Between the two, well, there are artists that I probably listen to far more frequently than Nas or Wu-Tang, although I've got Nas and Wu-Tang on my playlist for sure, and I enjoy them. Nas is more, I feel like, more serious. Fantastic, but serious. Where Wu-Tang can be serious at times, but they're also cutting it up and having fun. And so I'd probably lean a bit more towards the Wu-Tang with some workout playlists. Okay, let's see. What am I doing here? I'm all discombobulated. Okay. From Claudette, can you share 3 examples of people who have been in your life or that have made a game-changing impact on the way that you live it? And she mentions how her mother was a huge impact in her life. So I thought about this, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but I can't give you 3 off the top of my head, but I can give you 2. And I'll try not to make these too long. Number 1 is my grandfather, who was just, on my mother's side, just a great dude. I don't know how else to say it. World War II vet, didn't really talk about it. Immigrated, over to the U.S. from Italy. Had a little barber shop that he ran his whole life. Was just a personable guy. Never seemed to get flustered. Don't get me wrong, took things seriously and had good priorities, but always seemed to be appropriately measured with his response or whatnot, and just cool as a cucumber. I mean, this guy was just a fantastic human being and role model. The other individual would be one of my old commanding officers at SEAL Team 4, who I won't say his name. I'm sure he's not on active duty anymore, but I still just won't say his name. But awesome dude. Everyone who served under him would feel the same way. Lost his lower leg in a parachute accident and whatnot. Did so much stuff with just one leg. But not to go into a ton of detail, he was great all the time. A great leader, an actual leader. I can almost feel a rabbit hole happening. I feel the term leadership is thrown around these days frequently when it shouldn't be. there's a lot of people who are supposed to be leaders, but they might be managers at best. Managers, and there's of course good managers and bad managers, managers just kind of keep the train running on time, basically. Make sure you're supposed to hit the metrics that you hit, and we stay generally on course. You can do that well or poorly. That's just a manager. That's not a leader. A leader may have to do those things as well, but a leader, there's also a great degree of care for your subordinates and what's happening under you, and of course you don't make them feel like subordinates, and that's a gift of leadership as well. And then a leader actually cares about making those around him or her better and bringing them up instead of trying to hold them down. A leader actually puts their wants, needs, and desires subservient to the people below them, not the other way around. What else does a leader do? I mean, a leader, through their words and actions, actually inspire people. They don't give themselves special privileges because they are in a leadership role. They don't abuse that. So anyway, I think leadership and management gets not discussed appropriately, but that's from my personal bias there. But this guy was a leader. He was not a manager. He was a leader. And without going into too much detail, let's just say back in the day, I was a part of something that didn't go appropriately. It happened on my watch. I was a new guy, brand new, and something happened, and I had to go down to South America and take over for somebody else because something had happened. And while I was down there as a new guy, something happened with explosives. And anyway, long story short, wish I could talk to my younger self back then. We tried to sweep it under the rug. Didn't know what to do. Terrified, scared, nervous. Nobody got killed or anything like that, but it was not ideal. Let's go ahead and say that. When things don't go properly with explosives, it's not ideal. So something happened, tried to bury it. On my watch, I was in charge. I was didn't have the most experience, but I had the most rank on my collar, so it was on my watch. Got back to the United States. A couple months went by. Figured, hey, we got away with it. Like, nobody knows. It's great. What happened in South America stays in South America. Unbeknownst to me, word had gotten back. And my boss, the commanding officer of SEAL Team 4, who was, significantly outranked me, he was called into his boss's office, which is significantly higher than him. And he, the top guy, had found out about what happened through some channels. And so my commanding officer walked in to this meeting about something that I did, some personnel at his command, that he was not read in on, that he didn't know about, but his boss's boss knew about it. And so he looked like an idiot because this thing happened at his team and he didn't know about what one of his junior officers did. So he looked like a damn fool. And he got a large portion of his buttocks removed verbally in the chewing out that he got from his boss. And he got made to look foolish. And he got made to look foolish because of what I did and because of what I kept from him. Okay? So, I have no idea that this happened. He drives back to the command, drives back to the SEAL team, and I hear over the 1MC, over the loudspeaker in the command. I don't know if I was an ensign or a Lieutenant JG at that time, whatever. Sherwood, report to the commanding officer's office. And I was like, that's peculiar. So I go into this, I sit down, and he tells me what he just learned and witnessed, and I brace for impact as to what's going to happen because it's an understatement to say that that's not good. But instead of him demolishing me or doing some sort of formal reprimand that would go in my long-term folder, or whatever he could have done, man, like a father or like my grandfather, he talked to me about what happened. And he related mistakes that he just didn't know when he was brand new in the service 20 years ago, and didn't know was still learning the right way and the wrong way to do things and all this stuff. And he told me about some things that could have gone catastrophically wrong years ago for him and people that took them under their wing. And so basically we had this amazing conversation. It was incredible. And at the end of it, like, to say that I learned a lot was an understatement. One of the things he told me too is, like, bad news doesn't get better with age. It's not wine. Bad news does not get better with time or age. So if something happens, okay, right, there's that old saying that two people can keep a secret if one of them's dead. Two people know something. It might take a day, it might take a week, it might take a year, it might take a decade. One of those two people is going to talk. And that word's going to get out. And then they're going to tell somebody else. And it will circle back around. So if something happens, let people know appropriately. Take it on the chin. Get ahead of it. That's what's going to serve you best the overwhelming majority of the time. That was the big lesson learned. And at the end of it, we shook hands and he was like, nothing's going in your record. You got a clean slate. I wish somebody had done this to me when I was a junior officer. Have a good day. I don't know if everybody understands how rare a human being like that is. But anyway, that was that was a long story, but that was, I learned a lot from that individual with regards to leadership. Okay, let's see. Eric M. Wayne Gretzky said that he doesn't skate to the puck, but to where the puck is going. Love that one, by the way. Just for fun, in your view, where is CrossFit and fitness in general going? What's in the horizon that's not here yet that you're thinking about? Are there new movements and techniques that are being developed that you take note of for Linchpin programming? I have to imagine that what we have today isn't the complete fitness solution for all time, even if we do squats all the way to the grave. Cool question. Okay. So, yes. Okay, well, let's take it step by step. Where's CrossFit and fitness in general heading? Where's CrossFit heading? There's two CrossFits, right? There's CrossFit, the methodology. Where is that heading? I can tell you exactly where that's heading. Someplace fantastic. Like I said earlier, in how we program and we're all marching forward to long-term health and fitness. Like, that's where the methodology is going. We're good. It's out there. It's free. It's disseminated. You cannot kill it. Where's CrossFit, the company, going? CrossFit, corporate office? I got no idea. Just because the company's changed hands, there's a new ownership group. It's my understanding, I'm not a private equity guru. It's my understanding that private equity firms don't hold things for 30 years and pass them on to their grandkids. They acquire entities that they believe could be run better, get more profits out of them, decrease expenses, and then when they meet the goals that they had set for their investors, they sell to another entity. And I would assume that cycle continues. I would assume the new entity doesn't go, cool, we're not looking to make more money. I don't think most entities do that. They go, cool, now what can we do to maximize more profit and decrease more expenses? And that cycle will probably just continue. I could be totally wrong. But I think that's how it works. So where is CrossFit corporate going? I have no idea. The good news is it doesn't influence us in any way, shape, or form, quite frankly, because like I said, the toothpaste is out of the tube. You squeeze toothpaste out of a tube, you can't get it back in. The methodology is out there, and that's all we need. We're good. Let's see. New movements, techniques, etc., etc. That's an interesting question because, and what is on the horizon for Linchpin or whatnot. Linchpin is just going to keep doing what we're doing, which we've talked about earlier in this podcast. And the truth is in short supply. And so at Linchpin, we're always going to just keep telling the truth. And I think that sounds simple, but I don't think people realize how rare and impactful that is. That little saying that we have at Linchpin, that we do what's effective, not what's popular, that's so simple, but it's so rare. It's profoundly rare, but it actually works. So we're just going to keep doing what works. We're going to keep telling the truth to people, even if it's uncomfortable. We're not going to wrap people up in warm, comfortable lies, like a heavy lift plus a Metcon every day is what you need. Sorry, that's a warm, comfortable lie. We're not going to wrap you up in that. We're going to tell the truth, and it is what it is. Real community matters. We're going to keep doing that at Linchpin. And real community matters because most people who start working out quit. Most people who start to eat well quit. That's why so many people in the world are grotesquely out of shape and unhealthy and like knocking on death's doorstep. So consistency matters. Compliance matters. And so having a strength and conditioning program like Linchpin that is going to give you this gradual, incremental, sustainable progress with respecting your knees, back, and shoulders, well, that's something that you can actually do for decades and you won't get burnt out. And then surrounding yourself in a community that makes you feel supported and you make real friends, well, that's going to help you enjoy what you're doing and you'll feel bonded and connected. And then you'll walk into your garage more regularly doing a program that's well thought out and suddenly things are going in a good direction. So we're going to keep doing what we've been doing at Linchpin. And your question about like new movements and things like that, like don't get me wrong, my eyes are always open. In many aspects, I don't live a balanced life. Like this is my life all the time, and I don't really shut it off. So all my conversations with friends or with other people that are like athletes or coaches, like it's all I do all the time. And so yeah, there's stuff that comes out there every now and then, a new movement or a new piece of gear. But honestly, again, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. A lot of it's nonsense. You know, there's that whole virtuosity is doing the common uncommonly well. That's enough for darn near everybody. And the fundamentals that could potentially seem boring of gross movement patterns, time domains, lifts, your power lifts, your Olympic lifts, upper body pulling, all that stuff that we talk about, those are the fundamentals. You can spend your entire life on the fundamentals and you will never do them perfectly. Ever. You will improve, you will improve, you will improve. You will never have a perfect power clean or back squat. You can always try to run a little bit quicker. Like it just is. And so the thought that most people need to add something to that is a fallacy. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a lie. It's a distraction. It's a short-term buzz that leads nowhere. And I'm not going to drop any names right now, but I'm reminded of in the military. I was working in physical fitness, but in the military there was a seminar that took place at this very prestigious top-tier special operations unit that had unlimited budget, which is cool, and it's also a curse, because if you get an unlimited budget, you're going to buy every piece of whiz-bang gadgetry out there, whether it makes sense or not, and you're going to think the fancier that it is, the better it is. The more tech that it has, the better that it is. The more expensive it is, it's going to make my athletes beasts. And I walked through their gym, which it must have cost as much as a space shuttle. And all I could think to myself internally, because I didn't want to be rude to anybody, was this gym is filled with the dumbest, most unnecessary gadgetry I have ever seen. And everybody in here would be far better served by just doing squat cleans and sprinting. But that doesn't sound super sexy, right? Especially if you're like a top tier unit or a top tier athlete, and so part of your identity is like, we're the special unit, so we need special stuff. No, you don't. You might need special comms and special night vision and special cleats if you're in football or whatever, that's true, but your strength and conditioning program in general, okay, I understand football players have different needs than basketball players. I get that, but like talking like first responder, police, military, I'm very familiar with that world. You need to do the fundamentals of strength and conditioning program, like GPP, general physical preparedness, like we do here, and you need to do it really well. And you don't need a lot of that nonsense. Most people don't need more stuff. And so yeah, we'll look at stuff that comes out on social media, but I'm here to tell you most of it is just a shiny object that's a distraction. Most people probably just need to do what they're currently doing better, but with more focus, with better sleep, with better nutrition, with a healthier mindset, with improving their strength and conditioning IQ. And you're going to inevitably see some games athlete or somebody who's a beast, social media or YouTube short or TikTok or whatever it happens to be, and they'll be doing a movement that you're not doing or using some new piece of gear that you don't have, and you might think to yourself, that's what's holding me back. That movement, that's what I need to add. that gear. I guarantee you it is not. I guarantee you it's not. I guarantee you focusing on those non-sexy, non-flashy fundamentals and trying to be virtuous with them will drive that needle forward more than anything else. And this is what's going to make Linchpin different. Has and will continue to do so. We're going to it was my job to put out the best programming possible, to help cultivate the community that you all are a part of. That's awesome. And to keep the train driving through that nonsense fog of smoke and mirrors. That's my goal there. So, I guess the only caveat to that is, right? The only caveat is some of that shiny stuff that you don't need to do really long term, or it doesn't move the needle as much as that YouTube short would make you think that it does, or that's not why that person got the abs that they have or the back squat that they have, is the only caveat is sometimes some of those little distractions could be fun. That has value, actually. So if you got to keep training fun too, right? You have to enjoy walking into the gym. So if purchasing that new piece of gear for a while, you're going to play around with this movement, and that made you walk into the gym, and now your motivation's back up, that has value, and that's cool. But as far as some of that stuff really driving the needle, Okay, love the Wayne Gretzky quote though. Michael G. Oh, I said I didn't think this would go 45 minutes. We're at 43 minutes already. I really enjoyed Matteo Pizzi's demo videos. I just uploaded 3 more today, by the way. Pizzi's a beast. Demo videos, and was curious as to how he became part of the Linchpin team. So, how did I find Matteo? When I was looking for some help with uploading demo videos and looking for some help with creating warm-ups or whatnot, so I could really focus more on just the main workouts of the day and laying out those blocks of training and the various workout options from wildcard to Leo to Neo and all those things. I was trying to find somebody who was inside Linchpin, not outside. I wanted to hire from within, if you will, knew the community, knew the deal, moved well, had good strength and conditioning IQ, was an actual coach, works at a gym, and through chatting with some people, Matteo's name came up again and again and again, and reached out, and we just started chatting and whatnot, and he's been phenomenal. He's been an absolute beast. He's over there in Italy making it happen, and yeah, he's awesome. Let's see. Michael F. Spoiler alert. For Monday the 5th, there are ring muscle-ups programmed. Mine certainly suck, so I often do bar muscle-ups instead, also due to some pain from time to time in the shoulder when doing ring muscle-ups. But my question is, why aren't bar muscle-ups an option in one of the scaled options? I get that it's not exactly the same movement due to the instability with the rings, but shouldn't the stimulus be about the same? Yeah, so if bar muscle-ups treat you better than ring muscle-ups, by all means do ring muscle-ups. The other point to this is I say there's a difference between when you're the individual athlete, it can be easy to, your lens that you use as to what is a good sub or an appropriate sub is what works well for you. So you don't like ring muscle-ups, or they don't treat your shoulder well, bar muscle-ups do, why is that not an option? If you step back to now what you're going to recommend to 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people, the broader context as you go from ground level to 30,000 feet is the ring muscle-up being a tremendously difficult upper body pull. And then if you're going to give another option for that, or if the only other option is bar muscle-ups, you're going to eliminate a ton of people who don't have, because either one of those are a very demanding upper body pull. And so you've got to give something that's still a great upper body pull, strength and conditioning session, but has ratcheted down the difficulty or technique level adequately enough to meet the needs of a lot of people. And that's probably going to be some form of pull-up with we would use such as the umbrella of pull-up any style. And I say in the daily videos that pull-up any style, if let's say we were replacing 5 ring muscle-ups with 15 pull-ups any style. I would say pull-ups any style means it's up to you as the athlete. You look at what we are replacing. We're replacing a demanding upper body pull with the ring muscle up. And so now if you're going to do 15 pull-ups any style, make those pull-ups as challenging as possible because you're replacing something quite challenging. So if you don't have pull-ups yet, maybe use yourself a very light band that gives you far less assistance than you want, and do strict pull-ups to develop that upper body pulling capacity, or strict chest to bar pull-ups would be even better since you're trying to replace something like a ring muscle up, and use a band that gives you less assistance than you want. If you're doing the set of 15 unbroken, that band is getting stronger, not you. So I would want to see somebody use a band that maybe you have to break that set of 15 up into 3 sets, maybe like a 6-5-4, 3 sets of 5 or something like that, where they're difficult. Allow your body to be challenged, and then you'll get an adaptation from that stress, and you'll be improving your upper body pull. But if the band's doing too much of the work, you're not getting that. And so this is what I've said before with regards to workout options. You can just have death by workout options. Like there could be on almost any workout that we provide, I could provide 15 different workout options. There could be a workout that's, okay, option number 1 has ring muscle ups. Option number 2, bar muscle ups. Option number 3, this number of chest to bar pull-ups. Option number 4, this number of chin over bar pull-ups. Option number 5, weighted strict pull-ups. Option number 6, banded pull-ups, chin over bar. Option number 7, banded pull-ups, chest to bar. Option number 8, ring rows. Option number 9, ring rows with your feet on a box. Option number 10, it could go on and on. So what you have to do is provide 2 or 3 options to try to meet most athletes at where they would be, such as ring muscle ups, the pull-ups any style, and then maybe the scaled option has that same sort of mindset but regarding the ring row to make them profoundly difficult, so you're developing that upper body pull without the pull-up bar yet. And then on top of that, through these conversations, to improve the athlete's strength and conditioning IQ, understand the why behind the workout, and then also to know that you are 100% authorized, as I say so regularly, to make the best decision for you. And Mike, what you're talking about, you're right on target. And so if in that particular workout, for you and how your shoulder feels with ring muscle ups, it makes sense for you to swap out the ring muscle ups for bar muscle ups, totally good to go. Great idea, great preservation of the stimulus, and smart decision for what you have going on uniquely and individually as an athlete. So hopefully that helps. And then second question from Mike is about how the goal times are calculated. And somebody helped me out because I knew that we had discussed that. Alexander, thank you. And says, hey Mike, that the question about goal times is discussed in Linchpin Conversations number 395, so you can check that out. Okay. Just 2 more questions, and one of them is about ice cream. So that's great. Second to last question from Josh B. Pat, will you please go through in a bit more detail how you pick the workouts you're going to do at high intensity each week? You addressed heavy days last week, but what about the others? What is it about a specific workout that makes you target for high intensity today? So what Josh is talking about is, we're big on modulating intensity at Linchpin. We've been, I feel like, the only ones shouting this for years from the mountaintop of like, high intensity every day is not the way to long-term success. Days of low intensity and moderate intensity have value, and they actually keep you physically and mentally ready to bring it on a high intensity day. And so every Friday I put out a video on modulating intensity. I post it in the squads feature for Linchpin in the btwb app and also in the private Facebook group. And I walk through the workouts and I say what my plan is for attacking those workouts. And out of the 5 program days, I usually only try to stomp the gas on 2 out of 5. Last week we discussed heavy days. So what I will think about, Josh, generally speaking, now I might deviate from this every now and then, is some workouts just lay themselves out better for high intensity, generally shorter rep schemes, things like that, but not necessarily always will I make that decision. So let's look at, I called it up, where was it? For example, this particular week, I can't tell you why. When I looked at this week's training, what I thought initially was Monday, that grueling chipper that I mentioned, it's a grueling chipper, so it was also for time or not. I'm going to do that somewhere between low and moderate intensity because it's a beast. I'm going to let that just be a beast. On Tuesday, was not for time. 10 rounds not for time of the air squats and all the pressing. I was going to allow that to be low intensity also, or moderate. On Wednesday was 6x400 meter repeats. I mean, that is set up so nice to be a high intensity sort of a day that I was like, that's custom made for it. Yes, that one. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. We're on a rest day today. Tomorrow, we got a heavy lift coming. An awesome heavy lift. Lift what feels appropriately heavy. And then Saturday's workout, the rep range, the way the rounds lay out, and the loading lends itself really well to hopefully keeping the athlete moving, and it's a good day to really, for me, try to stomp the gas. And so that was the other decision that I made. So that's how I made those decisions. But for whatever reason, it changed. When I got involved in Monday's workout, I got feeling a little froggy, and I changed course. The ship had left the dock, and I changed course. And in that chipper with all the 50s, I don't know why, but I decided to make that one of my high intensity days, relatively speaking. I decided to not make it a lower, moderate, or conversational pace. I pushed the pace. If somebody had come in and started to talk to me during that workout at any point in time, I could not have had a casual conversation. It would have been me spitting words out of my mouth between gasps for air, because I was trying to go as hard as I can given that big segment of work. And so even though that workout didn't lend itself well to a high intensity day, I chose it once I got involved in it just for variance sake. I was like, you know what? I wonder how much I can sustain during this. Let's keep this really uncomfortable. And that's how the decision was made. But usually it's me looking at, like I just said, okay, that's a long grinder, great for a moderate, but every now and then it's great to push it on a long day too. See what you got. Final question. From Dave T. What's your favorite ice cream place around where you live? Oh, recommend you try Sweetleys in Tumwater. Oh, a local. Dave, much appreciated. Where I live around here, it is a dumpster fire of cuisine. There is nothing around me. It's horrible. I don't know what the deal is, but there's nothing good around here, especially not for ice cream. There's not a lot of good food choices around. It's really terrible for somebody like me that loves food. So, recommending a place to go, Sweetleys in Tumwater. Dave, roger that. I'm going to check that out. Okay, 54 minutes. Wow. Thanks to everybody for sticking around. 54 minutes, crazy. Thanks for all the questions. All of you are awesome. We'll keep doing what we do at Linchpin. And yeah, that's about it. Have a great day. We'll talk later.